Last Days at FORCADOS High School, Chapter 9. Whenever people called Clichy, like the darkest part of the night is just before dawn, they were usually right. But could that also mean that the brightest days occurred before the darkest night? It was something Jimmy Sholade would think about for many years afterwards. These days of being a schoolboy in FORCADOS were bright. He won prizes, he was popular, and the only bad thing was that Efwa Koka didn't like him. He didn't spend much time spending time thinking about his family then. Mother was quite quiet and gentle and always made sure he had good food to eat and that his clothes were cleaned and ironed. Father grumbled incessantly and Wole was simply Wole. He was now doing some sort of computer diploma course at an institute, although he kept trying to see if their elder brother Femi, who was living in the UK, would help him travel out or send some money to him. Femi was just like Mr. Sholade. He wanted nothing to do with Wole. Throughout the holiday, Jimmy went out to parties with all his friends and had a good time at the beach. Once they went to the nightclubs for the fun of it. Nobody guessed they were underage. One night, just after New Year's Day, when his father was away from his job and Wale was not at home, Jimmy heard a pounding on his bedroom door. It was Tracy Cat, the house help. Mommy has fainted, she said with terror in her eyes. She was just standing there. Then she moved back and fell. Help us. He ran to the kitchen and saw his mother on the ground. One of her hands was flung wide and she had a little cut on her forehead where she had hit the cupboard. He suddenly realized how thin she was. Mom, can you hear me? There was no answer. Rizikat was staring at him, rolling her frightening eyes. For a second, he didn't know what to do. He suddenly felt sick, as if he was going to faint as well. Pulling himself together, he went down and felt a slight breath against his face. She was still alive. Thank God. Jimmy took a wet cloth from the house help and rubbed his face forehead. His sweating racing. After about 5 minutes, Mrs. Soladi woke up and Jimmy and the house help helped her to the sitting room. Mom, are you okay? What's the matter? Jimmy asked. I'm alright, she said weakly. No, Mom, you are not. Have you been ill? There was something about the way she refused to meet his gaze that made him uncomfortable. Jimmy pressed until she finally agreed to go to the hospital for a checkup. There, the hospital spent a long time with her. The doctor spent a long time with her. We will have to admit her, he said, when he finally came to the examination room just for some tests. After an agonizing night, Jimmy went back to the hospital the next day to find his mother sitting up in the bed. The ward where she was in had two other beds, but in it, one of them was occupied by an elderly woman who was still lying, occasionally punctuating the air with a noisy gasping breath. Jimmy wasn't sure if she was conscious or not. Jimmy twisted his nostril a little at the peculiar antiseptic smell that hospitals always seemed to have. Are you feeling better, Mommy? Jimmy, she said. I want to tell you something. His heart stood still. Yet, she said nothing. Mom, tell me, I'm not a child. I have cancer, ovarian cancer. His throat went dry as he struggled to understand what she had just said. That sounds bad. His voice trailed off. Cancer? It meant people who became painfully thin with hopeless looking eyes and bowed heads. It was something that happened to other people, something that one read about in books and watched on television. How long has she known what was going to happen now? It seemed suddenly darker inside the world. The smell around him grew thicker. He wanted to throw up. He glanced at the yellow-eyed woman on the other hand, breathing heavily with her bluish tongue hanging out. The world was suddenly full of sickness and ugliness. There was silence, and then she said something he did not expect. Your father, he loves you both. Why did she say that? He wondered that. Yes, he can't help the way he gets angry sometimes. He almost went backwards after what you did. I'm going to try and pull through this and look after you all. I don't want you to worry about me. Worry? He sat on the bed and he suddenly felt like crying. Tears filled his eyes in spite of himself. He hoped this was a bad dream. Don't worry, she kept saying. I will get over through this. Don't worry at all. Mr. Sholade came back from his trip the next day looking confused. Jimmy had called at once. Early the day before, Uncle Kazim was also around. What has happened? He growled at Jimmy when he arrived at the house. She's really ill, said Jimmy. His father looked stunned and then recovered himself. Where is that going good for nothing brother of yours? He was around. Jimmy was guardedly. Wally had arrived at the hospital the day before. He had hung around for a short while, muttering, "I hate hospitals," before disappearing again. Then they drove in silence to the hospital, and Mr. Sholade spoke to the doctors. His mother kept asking him how things were going at home. Wally was one would think she was not the sick one. After a while, Mr. Sholade said to Jimmy, "Let's go. I'm not going yet. Don't start with me. I'm not going, Papa. Please leave me alone," Jimmy shouted. They gazed at each other. For the first time, Jimmy understood how it felt to be like Wally and defy his father. An old fear of his father tugged at the back of his mind, but he was not caring. "Jimmy, obey your father," Mr. Sholade said. "Please." On the way to the car, his father said, "For not on, I will keep an eye on you, and that good for nothing brother of yours. Both of you will have to deal with me." Then he muttered something unintelligibly. Later in the evening, Wally came back and received a furious tongue lashing, but that was all. Afterwards, he came to see Jimmy, looking sorry for one. "How is she doing?" Wally asked. "She's better than she was." Wally twisted his hand in his pocket. "Damn, I feel so bad. Has she really got? Yes, Jimmy's voice was bitter. "I never even noticed anything. None of us noticed." When Ansa heard that Miss Sholade was ill, he and his parents came to visit Miss Sholade at the hospital. He sat with him on a bench outside the wall. None joined them. She and her parents had also come to offer their support. "I love she gets better soon," Ansa said. "I will be praying for her and all of you," Nene said and gave him a hug. "She will get better, Jimmy. Just have faith." "Yes, she will." Jimmy's heart was heavy.